Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Entrepreneurship Lab. This is your host, Nevena Bajalac, welcoming you once again to the podcast where we help you grow and scale your business. Today, we have entrepreneurs, special entrepreneurs. They're two sisters, and they're going to share with us their story on how they took over their father's business when their father got ill and passed away, unfortunately, and how they built it into multi-million-dollar company. So please help me welcome to the show Danielle and Andi. Danielle, Andi, welcome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Happy to be here.
So where are you girls at? You're in States, right? In which state?
Yeah,
We're
we're in
in,
Boston, south
yeah,
of Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay, amazing. So tell me a little bit. I read your bio, but I want listeners to know where were you years ago before you took over your father business? What were you doing? Like you, from what I know, you had no business experience. So life put you in that way. So tell us a little bit more, one by one. Where were you? What was your focus? What was your background? And what were you doing then?
sure. I was home. I was a mom, a stay-at-home mom. I had three kids, under six, and Andy was at her dream job at the NHL, and TV production. And our dad became ill, like you said. So he was diagnosed with cancer and he was given about a year to live. At the time, Andy and I had not worked in the family business for decade, a very, very long time. And so we sort of didn't know what to do. And we had a conversation and we just said, you know what, we'll go back to the business. We'll come back. And after he passed away, we had an employee at the time try to take the top five clients. And so he was successful at taking three, and the other two stayed. And so really at that point, there wasn't much left of the business. We were grinding it out, not knowing every 30 days if it was sustainable, if there was going to be a business anymore. We had no experience whatsoever. We didn't know what a P&L was. We had no business taking over, never mind the circumstances that was left to us.
Yeah.
So
And
it
I
was
mean,
wild.
and in that situation of course, losing your father, dealing with grief, just that. So that's also a big shock. But what business do you have? What your company does, if you can tell the listeners, and how long was your father building it? And I'm assuming he was successful at it as well.
Yeah, so it's a same day delivery company. It's business to business. So we move our customers' products to their customers or vice versa, anywhere from manufacturers, labs, auto suppliers, auto parts suppliers. So any tangible good really. And he started in 1981. It was funny enough, it was a wedding gift. So it was a very small. This older gentleman was retiring. He wanted to move down to Florida. He had like two little accounts in the Boston area. And our dad drove a taxi at the time, and he said, "This might fit into what you're doing." And so that was a start. And so that was 81. It was mainly sort of Eastern Massachusetts, an area of Southern New Hampshire. That's where he was located. Um, and at the time when we took over in 2012, we had about 14 drivers out on the road. And we had two operations staff that stayed with us through the transition. And that's sort of we leaned on them a lot. They taught us a lot in those early days, and they still do, but they're still here with us today, which is
Yeah, yeah, that's
awesome.
amazing. And you are now over 200 drivers or 400?
200, yeah, probably around 200 drivers, and I think office staff of about 15 or 16 and growing, which is pretty remarkable. Yeah.
Yeah. So what helped you? I mean, obviously, Danielle, you were, taking care of three kids under six, like you said, and you're having your dream job. Was it more of like continuing your dad legacy? As you said, you're almost losing all the customers, so there is no business left. Like, what was the maybe a breaking decision to continue instead of just closing this business and continue with your lives like you did? Like, what was there? Was there something inside that did you let you give up? Or tell me a little bit more about that.
So our answers are different for this. So I love this question. For me, I think just being the older sister, couldn't let I couldn't let Express It die with him. So it was just really those early days was fight or flight mode. And so I just went into fight mode. It was just became a battle and emotional because at the simultaneously I was grieving, we're grieving. So it was all meshed up into one. But for me, it was really sort of just, we couldn't let it go with him. I thought that that would have been the ultimate failure if it just went away when he died too. So that was really my driving force.
Yeah, and yeah, mine was different. I mean, I always say I would have regretted not trying it. Um, that was heavy on me. We didn't know what we were doing, so the fear of failure was definitely there. Um, but regret not even giving it a shot was very heavy for me. And so that
Yeah.
was more my driving force.
Yeah, yeah, and like Danielle, you said, like part of grieving and just not giving up. It's like part of your father and in his life what he built and everything. So now you took over. Obviously, there's a lot of emotions going on. And what's happening now? You said the staff members still takes three clients. You are left with obviously just a few. So what do you do next in this situation?
We don't know.
Yeah, it was straight survival. So it like basics. How do you decrease the bills? How do you pay the bills? Very basic stuff that like I guess human instinct just took over at that point. No business, like how do we grow? What's our
Yeah,
strategy? Like we didn't even know what strategy was. Um, but it was like let's just make sure we can pay the rent and the drivers get paid. But it was really about getting lean, making better decisions. That's all we really knew how to do. And then at the same time, just treating the people well so they wanted to stay. We leaned on those
yeah.
office staff, the operations, we leaned on them heavily. They were our teachers. Again, I already said it, they still are. And so really just we went into student mode. We had to. Yeah, we were the owners, but that didn't mean anything because we didn't know anything. So who
Yeah.
cares, right? Um, so that was it. It was really just about survival and in the day to day, how do we keep the lights on? Even though every 30 days it was maybe we should shut it down, when we met with our accountants and
Yeah. So
um,
you had those like thoughts and phases of shutting it down often. How long was this phase going on and when was maybe the switch? Like when did you switch, hey, this can work or we can make this work? How long did it take you to get there?
That first year, I would say, right, Andy, was really touch and go.
I'd say the for almost two
Almost
years.
two. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
almost two.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was really touch and go. After that, we sort of started to turn a corner, and we were able to breathe a little and say, okay, there might be something here, and we might actually be able to make something out of this. It was then or shortly after that, we had seven banks turn us down for a line of credit. Five, seven banks, just didn't believe in us, certainly didn't believe in the P&L. And it was finally a bank, Boston Private, took a shot on us. And that was one of the pivotal moments at the company where we could focus on other things and not just worrying about making payroll. We had the funds to sort of breathe and focus on other parts of the business, and just kind of step out of that survival mode.
Yeah, it's very difficult to grow when you're in that survival mode. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs listening, I've been there also. And I feel when you're just like looking how to survive, like you said, you're not thinking about strategy, you're not thinking about anything. But it is also, I think, very important phase that develops you as a person and as an entrepreneur, where the hardest period is what shapes you, as they say.
Right.
Hmm.
Oh yeah. And Andy says it all the time. We wouldn't have had this any other way. Our,
Yeah.
our start in this company. It just shaped who we were, who we are.
And Andy, at the time, you still kept your job, or you completely resigned your job and you worked in a business? How was the dynamic of you also, did you have support from the family, just that surviving 2 years of starting it or putting it back on the feet?
Yeah, I had given my notice before we found out the employee took the accounts. And so then it was like, but I hadn't moved home yet. So I was in New York City. And so I went to my boss at the time and I said, I don't know if there's even a company for me to go home to. Like I might be back. And he was like, great, give it a shot and come back if you want. And so that was in the back of my mind, even though obviously I didn't want that to happen because that would have meant maybe failing. But yeah, no, at the time, I think I moved into Danielle's attic. I moved into it with Danielle twice. But yeah, I came home and yeah, it was kind of whatever it takes. Like we'll just sort of figure it out
Yeah.
until we can't do it anymore or till it shifts and ultimately it shifted. So
So, how is your dynamic as two sisters? I mean, I have a sister and a brother, and I would definitely not be able to build business with them. We are completely different. So I'm very like admiring you, but I guess the personalities are different. So how did you get along? And did you like kind of agree on specific roles, or you were on it as a team from the beginning? How this worked because building a business with family is also very, very difficult, can be difficult. It's not just business, it's emotions, and you care about the person, but then you can disagree about decisions. What challenges you had in this area?
go ahead, Danielle, you usually take this one.
Okay. Well, we're definitely not normal, probably in that we spend a lot of time together, both in the business and personal. We vacation together. It's very dysfunctional. But we're friends too, so it really, really works. Andy's also my boss, so we just set that groundwork from right from the beginning. She's always taken on that sort of, boss, I don't know, whatever. So it's kind of funny, but no, I
Wouldn't
don't
say
know.
from the dynamic of the
Yeah.
internet or
Oh
interview, I would
yeah.
say Danielle is the boss.
No, no. Every other area, yes, but when it comes to the company, no. We're very different. We we have strengths and weaknesses, and vice versa with each other. And so I just think for us, we're family first, and we had been through so much when we lost our dad that I said this a couple weeks ago. I It's us first. It's Andy and I first. And so I could walk away tomorrow if that meant salvaging the relationship with Andy and I. I just the company has been amazing, but really the journey of Andy and I together and what we've gone through is just it really is incredible. So
I think it's amazing. It's not dysfunctional at all. I think that's how relationships should be. So
yeah, yeah. No, we used to spend a lot of time together.
We
We did.
do. And beyond that too, it's like there's been so many dark moments, but I kid you not, in those darkest moments, we've laughed the hardest, which is so crazy. But like looking back, like Danielle makes me laugh harder than anyone. And so like when you're in it, it could eat you alive and do some real damage. And maybe it did. I would think I'm better at managing my stress these days, but like when you're in it, if even be able to like see the bigger picture, right? Like we already lost our
yes,
dad and we're sisters and this is all we have. It's just us and our mom. But like
yeah.
it's some of the situations were so ridiculous you had to laugh because like it was just crazy and it's just business. And so I think that was a huge factor too in keeping us forward.
So can you tell me some stories? How did you start getting some new customers? Obviously, you need to get more sales, right? And get some more business in. The employee took some of your accounts. So what did you do? Like as someone with no business experience, maybe knowledge or experience, doesn't matter. Like what did you do? What actions did you take? And where did you hustle, knock on so many doors to start getting? How did you market in general your service?
I, I think it was a little bit of everything. Danielle can answer this too. I think
Yeah.
you know, we our dad used to say like service is everything. And so we really focused on that, like just being the best at what we do. And we were in a unique position of, a lot of delivery companies use independent contractors. They're not employees. So there's not really a culture of like either gratitude or just like togetherness, but we do have the employee model. So it's a disadvantage where it's a little more costly, it's to do, and it's harder to make the sale, but it's like once the sale happens, the service speaks for itself. And so referrals came and customers just started calling more, giving us more opportunity. And then we were so inexperienced. It was like, well, how do we even do this? Like there were sales classes and networking groups, and we would try a little bit of everything. Um, and that then we got to the position where okay, we could invest money in the business and doing the digital marketing and marketing. So it was really a bit of like just trial and error and seeing what works, but ultimately like if you don't have the service, you don't have anything.
Yeah.
And that was probably our number one.
Yeah. Any stories, Danielle, that you want to share that are in your memory?
Yeah, I just think we were honest with the clients too. Like, we had to win their trust, and we didn't say that we could do something if we knew we couldn't do it. We also didn't take on work that we knew we couldn't really be successful at. And so whether that meant saying no, that was okay at the time. And yeah, you want to grow, and you want the bottom line to grow, but at what cost was that going to come? We just had to be really smart about the decisions that we made.
Yeah.
And then it was trial and error, like you said. Like we are terrible networkers. Like we've gotten a lot better, but when Andy said that, I started laughing because we were horrible. Like we would go to networking events and only talk to each other. And then we would get in the car and we'd be like, that was fun. Like we did
No,
great.
it was outrageous.
It was outrageous.
Outrageous.
And we
Yeah.
talked to no one except each
Right.
other.
Right.
And we
Yeah.
like go, we order the same drink, we get the same appetite. It's outrageous, but we're working on that now. I think
Yeah.
after being in the business and a little bit more confidence 12 years later, where we can, say, hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah. Well, I think part of the problem too is like we didn't even know what we were selling. Like, how could you go to a networking event and talk about your business? Like, I didn't even know how to say it. Right? No, seriously. It's like, well, how much is the class? I don't really know. We do hours and miles. Like this, I'm talking early days. It
Yes.
was. I've never said that, and she's dying, but it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
She's never said that.
And I think that's clarity. A lot of entrepreneurs listening, I think that's clarity is so important. And that's where so many entrepreneurs are struggling when they want to go out, network, or promote their business, is that they don't have clarity what they're selling, how much are they selling, what
Yeah,
service they're going to provide. And then it's
yeah,
all mixed up in your head. And then, like you say, and you're like, what I'm going to even say? Like, why bother, talking to people?
right, right.
No, it's so true.
Yeah. So
So we're
what's
better
your
at it now because we can actually speak to it, which is a
Of
miracle. Yeah.
course, and you build, I mean, you have amazing results that speak for themselves as well. And but I want to know, like, if you can go back in time and you wish you knew one thing a bit earlier that would help you maybe with growing the business, what is that one thing for each one of you that you feel was like aha moment, like something you like, I wish somebody actually told me this, that we should focus on this, or this is how business works.
I don't know if I have that's how it works, but I think just really to surround yourself with people who believe in you, because I think we have an incredible family, that didn't let us give up or didn't let us, even in the darkest of times, like a real sounding board, our mom and certainly our husbands, but just to kind of stay in the fight. But I think you just need someone to believe in you, because sometimes you don't even believe in yourself. You don't believe in what you're doing. You have lost faith in the whole thing. And so that's mine, is just you just need one. You just need one person to believe in you. I know Andy's is different.
No, and just to that too. And I feel like I've been reflecting recently too. It's like, and even if Danielle and I maybe individually were having a moment of doubt or insecurity, the other one isn't. And so I think we have to pump each other up. And that even happens now with different things that we're doing. And so that's just being a human, right? So to even just have the one person, like if I know Danielle is like, no, we can do this. And it's like, okay, it gets me out of that little like the self-doubt, like the negative talk. But I think the other thing for me personally is um there's so much fear and you have to work through it. Like, and maybe the fear never goes away. You work through it differently. And it's really true. Like when you work through the fear or you get outside your comfort zone, that's where things shift. And that's where like
Mhm.
miracles can really happen. And that's just from doing this for so long and being so afraid for so long where it was like almost like debilitating. So like you can't do that.
Yeah,
You can't
yeah,
be afraid.
yeah.
There's always a
Exactly.
solution too, you know, there's always you can
Yeah.
solve the problem. The problems can be solved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And they always say it's just the awareness, the awareness that we don't have the awareness how to solve the problem, but there is someone who solved it before us, or, there are people who've been through similar situation. That's why they say also surround yourself with people, not just believe in you, but also have the knowledge and can push you or help you. And yeah, that's I love that answer. And I think it's true. And it's so important. And you're so lucky to actually have each other and that relationship to push each other through those times, because that can be really, really crucial. And is there a mistake? I love to ask this question as well. Is there like a specific mistake you were like, oh my God, like we like failed like so bad, or we did something and we didn't think
Oh
through?
yeah.
I'm sure there were many, but like maybe each one of you can share one that's maybe funny, or like it had a big impact on you, or like, oh my God, what have I done? Like I'm not doing this ever again.
Yeah, I mean, so like Andy said, we deliver, wholesale stuff, manufacturing and really B2B. And we decided to get into the last mile business of mattresses out in Michigan. And we opened what, a month before COVID hit.
Hmm.
So we took down a big warehouse and we were going to start delivering mattresses, and it was a disaster on not only the delivery, but then we had mattresses piled up like outside a warehouse. I mean, everything that we thought that we could have done, that was a hard lesson. And so now when we have opportunities to get into last mile, it's a very easy, that's not for us. That's not our core
Oh
business.
yeah.
Yeah.
That is not what we excel in. And it just is an example of thinking we could do something that
Hmm.
wasn't for us.
And I think it's
It
Yeah.
was a
okay to
calculated
accept.
risk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it
okay
was.
to accept, and you have to accept, hey, this works for our company and this doesn't. And like
Yeah,
sometimes as entrepreneur, we think we have to do it all, and it makes no sense. You can just have your niche, or be
Yeah.
in a specific service,
exactly.
and as your
Yeah.
example, like thrive there. Yes, Andy, sorry, and you wanted to say?
No, I was just saying that the risk was a calculated risk. Like we knew it was a risk, but like you said, it was let's try to do something different. And I think the people around us that we were talking to, they were doing it and they were so successful at it. And it was like, well, why can't we do this? It's delivery. It's what we do. And then we learned real quick it was not our core business, and we were not delivering the service that we say that we do and how we've been around since 81. And like that really it just felt so terrible. But again, it was so many good lessons learned, so many, even though it was a colossal financial disappointment and pride. But but yeah, it feels good to be like, yeah, it was a mistake. We learned, and it was like, let's just get back to basics of what Express It is. And so walking away, like that conversation wasn't easy, but there was a lot of pride in that. Like, we can't service you the way that you should be serviced and the way that we're used to servicing our customers, and we just can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just being honest.
I think as entrepreneurs, sometimes our ego is like big, or we think like, or we even feel, I at least felt many times, like if I walk away or quit some areas, it's like a failure. And then I had to have this conversation with myself. This is not a failure. This is not just the direction I'm supposed to go. And I'm sure after that, right after COVID, you scaled as well massively after that.
Yeah, in the area that we're good at. So we got out of Michigan and then focused on
Yeah.
the area that we're in and how we could
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. So as we are wrapping the episode, I want to ask you one final advice for each one of you, for someone who wants to build a business or is building the business and is going through, hard times, a lot of challenges. What is one final advice, something that was powerful for you and we didn't mention so far?
I think go for it. I don't think you have to wait until everything lines up in order to be successful. I just think you don't have to wait. If it's inside you and you feel that voice, like you can, then you probably can. So it's like there's never the right time. Our timing was imperfect in every single way. Um, but I think that's what made it. So my advice is to go for it.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And also ask for help. You don't need to know everything. You don't know everything. So, and that's okay. So just like accept that and then go find the people that do, or they know more than you, because people are willing to help
Yeah.
and there are experts out there, and go find them.
Yeah.
And always have that, like the teachers, always be the student, always want to learn and always
Yeah.
want to get better.
I love that. Love both of it. Like, and then, like you said, timing, we always think, oh, I need to have this, have that, and timing is never perfect.
Yeah.
And you're an example that, life just pushed you in that direction. And sometimes life works that way. You're overthinking, and life just pushes you. You have no choice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're in and you
exactly.
have to find a way out. So
Right.
that's amazing, amazing example. So this was incredible. I want to thank you so much for your time and for sharing your story and all your lessons with us.
Thank
Thank
you for
you.
having us.
Great,
Yes.
great conversation.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I want to thank the listeners for being here. Make sure to subscribe, download the episode, give us some comments, likes, hearts, and as always, share with at least one entrepreneur that can benefit from this episode as well. Thank you for listening, and I see you in the next episode.